if you'd like to email us, send it to demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
You got kind of a George Takei thing going with that voice.
Oh my. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dem Guys Podcast.
Woo!
Yay!
Today is the Slash's birthday episode.
Yay!
Yay! Because my birthday was on Monday.
Yep.
St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, that's right.
I am not Irish. Do not pinch me. Do not. I will not. I am not a leprechaun. I will not. Grant you wishes or give you a pot of gold.
That's really disappointing.
These are all the things that I had to deal with growing up. So.
How many times is it always on your birthday?
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day is the same date every year. It does not slide. So
I was wondering because I thought it was on a Sunday last year. Or I remember it being on a Sunday at one point.
Yeah. Roughly every 7 years or so.
Oh yeah. I guess that's how it works. So your birthday is always on St. Patrick's Day.
Always St. Patrick's Day. Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
Yep. And I rarely wear green. Like everybody else wears green. They're like, "Why aren't you wearing green? Your birthday is on St. Patrick's Day." And I'm like, "My birthday trumps St. Patrick's Day."
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, hey, we've got actually quite a bit to try to get through today, so we're going to plow straight ahead. Drew, what have you been playing recently?
Well, I've been playing Minecraft. Big surprise. In Minecraft, if you've been watching either my videos or Snow's videos, you'll have seen there's been a whole thing going on with the guest house at Snow's base.
Yes, it's a guest house. Now,
yes.
Well, somebody, I don't know, either one of you, I don't care, define what the term guest house means to you.
Gosh.
I'll jump in because I think I did this definition for you guys in the call the other day.
Yes, please.
But a guest house is generally a house in which a guest stays while they are visiting.
Guest is defined as?
Guest is defined as a person who does not live there for a long period of time. Generally, maybe a weekend visitor or even a week-long visitor, but then someone who goes to their own permanent residence at the end of that. But Daudur and Drew seem to think that this house is for rent, despite this nomenclature that you use. So.
Or purchase, or whatever they seem to think it is.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it has led to there's been hilarity as a result. So I strongly endorse the fact that this has been going on.
To be fair, I originally did that whole thing of moving in because I expected an entertaining video where Snow would come along and be like, "Hey, what's going on here? Why is this here?" And he'd kick me out, and I thought that'd be entertaining. But he's like, "Okay, I'll accept rent." So
yeah.
Well, it was the fact that Daudur got up there before Snow had a chance to react and was like, "Hey, no, this is my place."
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
I mean, that was fantastic. And so it has ballooned from there. And,
yes. And now I have to choose, or I have to incorporate both of them into my, what's it called? My residence, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, last time I looked, that place didn't look like it was fit for anybody to live in.
I didn't think so either. It was made to be a guest house. It wasn't made to be anything for anybody to live in, just to visit in. That's the reason.
Know. I mean, maybe you haven't seen recently.
I did see recently, but I have not even started. I've been on vacation, which we'll talk about a little bit, but I haven't mentioned it yet. But I did see it. I don't know if the other two have seen it.
I saw it on
I
Slash's
imagine Daudur probably saw it too.
It'll probably be up by now. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
So, to solve the rent problem, we did an abacaving, and that was very entertaining. And Snow's video is up at the time of recording this. Hopefully mine will be too, but I'm behind on editing, so
I guess we won't spoil it here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
We can move on to the next thing. Drew, you're excited about the imminent release of Smite.
Yes, that is when the podcast comes out, it'll be 6 days. It's the 25th of March.
And that's also like Game Vid Expo, right?
Yes.
Which is the Smite convention. Am I right about this?
It's not entirely Smite, but it's being put on by Hi-Rez, who made Smite, and there's gonna be like a big Smite tournament and stuff. But it's not entirely Smite. I don't know all of the details, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the main thing for me is if we had recorded this podcast a week ago, Smite wouldn't even be on my games list. I took a long break from it. But one of my friends, Jack, got me back into playing Smite, and I've decided I really, really want to get to the final level before the beta's over, because you get special stuff and it's sort of like bragging rights, like, hey, I did this before the game was actually out. And I don't know if that's possible with my work schedule, but I'm gonna try.
Well, good luck.
Yeah.
Because being able to say I beat the game before the game was actually released is kind of a cool statement to be able to make.
I mean, the
someone.
game has been out for a really long time, and so there are a lot of people, the beta has been out for over a year.
Right.
That's
so
ridiculous.
A lot of people
saying.
have hit level 30.
And then it's all going to get reset, right?
No.
You keep your levels?
Because the levels don't give you anything. It just means
right.
I've been playing for this long, and so I'll be matched up against people who accordingly have like as much experience and skill as I do. So it's not going to match like someone who's just starting against someone who's been playing for a really long time.
So what does Smite being released actually entail? Like how is that going to affect the gameplay?
Honestly, I don't know what's coming with the full release. Okay, yeah, I should put it, I don't definitely know that there's a wipe, but I'm pretty sure it's like that's the whole reason it's a big deal if you're 30 before the beta releases, because you get special stuff, but I don't think it resets your level. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything about that.
I don't know, it just seems like a lot of these companies are doing the same thing. We've talked about it before, but the whole early beta thing, and now it's like they beta tested it so much that there's nothing to release anymore. It's just like, yep, now we're in the full version and the game's released.
Well, like I said, I'm obviously okay. I don't know. I don't know enough about it to be able to.
But you think there might be like some extra stuff they release with it?
I think it'll be like the big final sort of patch of the game and like add whatever stuff they've been planning into it. And as far as I know, I don't think there will be like a whole bunch of additions after that, but I guess there could be. They might continue adding new gods that you can play as and stuff. I really don't know, but I'm still excited. Yeah,
I guess.
And then very briefly, the other games I've been playing are Call of Duty Ghosts, which I don't need to talk about anymore. It's just multiplayer and it's fun. And then I actually just picked up Assassin's Creed 4 and I've been playing that a ton, and I'm sad to have to put it down, but I want to, as I said, get to level 30 in Smite. But that's way better than Assassin's Creed 3. Like, that Assassin's Creed 3 was a letdown, and so when I saw Assassin's Creed 4, I'm like, there's no way I'm getting this. But I've heard from everyone that it's amazing, and now that I've played it, I can confirm that it is so good.
Did you play the second one?
Yeah, I've played all of them.
So was 3 much worse than the second one? Because I really liked the second one.
Yeah, the second one was my favorite of all of them. And Assassin's Creed 3 really was, like, there were some interesting parts and some cool additions that they did, but it really, the assassin that you play as is just kind of like, I don't really want to be playing as this guy because, but like, I don't know. When I first heard about the ability to play as a pirate in Assassin's Creed 4, I'm like, that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's actually, it's very epic. So.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad because like Assassin's Creed 1 was obviously, it had its issues. And then 2, I thought like I said before, I think I still haven't finished it, but I have 3 and I haven't even started playing it obviously because I never finished 2. But once you
realize there are games in between 2 and 3, right?
Why would I want to play those though? Like those are the Brotherhood and that stuff.
Brotherhood and Revelations, yeah.
What are they? Just expansions?
No.
What are they?
First of all, it continues Ezio's story from so it's.
I don't know. Like to me, it seems like if they wanted me to play a game, then they would name it a full release. They wouldn't name it Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood.
It's because it is a mini trilogy inside of the whole series. That's true, but it really, especially Brotherhood. There's a lot of stuff that happens in Desmond's story that, like if you really just want to run around and play as an assassin, then I say it doesn't matter where you jump in. But if you want to understand what's going on in Desmond's story, because there is some kind of weird stuff that happens in those, you really should play straight through all of them.
I don't know if I have that level of commitment to Assassin's Creed, honestly. That's a lot of games.
Okay. The other thing you can do is you can just like go on YouTube and watch something
true.
like what I need to know before playing Assassin's Creed 3.
I don't know. I don't know. That kind of cheeses me off. I hate when they do that kind of stuff because it seems like it's an expansion, but if there's actually vital information, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I would think when you pick up Assassin's Creed 3, if you played Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2, you know, with that just those titles by those names,
right?
And when you pick up Assassin's Creed 3, if there's additional stuff not covered by those two games that I just mentioned, that should be covered at the beginning of 3. Like,
right.
They do
in
go
case
over...
you haven't played our other content in between.
They do have a thing that goes over kind of what's going on, but it's still...
Well, not to mention, it was the other two, the ones in between were marketed terribly. Like, I follow Assassin's Creed fairly closely, I guess. But, like, I didn't exactly look either of them up. But from what I understood from, like, commercials and stuff, it seemed like Brotherhood and Revelations were either expansion packs or online type deals.
See, Revelations was really... It was very fun. I had more fun with Revelations than I did with Brotherhood, but it did almost feel like more of an expansion that they could have added on to Brotherhood. It was a much shorter game. Brotherhood though was actually a very large game, and
that makes me angry. Never gonna play any more Assassin's Creed anymore, especially because I know 3 sucks now. Dang it.
And then finally, I started playing the Just Cause 2 campaign. I got Just Cause 2 for Christmas from a friend, and I really want to get into the multiplayer mod. That just sounds amazing, but I figured I should probably try and get good at the game first by playing the campaign. So I learn the controls and stuff before I get into multiplayer. So yeah, I did that. And it's not the greatest game ever, but there's some ridiculously fun things you can do with physics. So
physics is always fun, I guess. That's why Garry's mod is such a big deal right now. Just because you can do, I mean, people have made so many different, I guess, games based on the physics engine.
Yeah, I haven't played Garry's mod yet. I have it. I've had it for a while. Have not played it, but now the series that Pause and Good and Badge, and then they've had several different people.
NVIDIA. It's supposed to be a video, but apparently he never shows up for recording.
Yeah, well, and Old Man Willikers has been with them too.
Yeah, that series is awesome.
Yeah, Murder and now Prop Hunt. Both of those, I'm like, I want to play those.
Well, and they also have the this may be wrong. Is Stop It Slender a Gmod thing? Have you guys seen that?
I think someone mentioned that it is. I've never been a fan of Slender.
I keep meaning to watch the video. I mean, I never watched the Stop It Slender stuff, but I've never watched anything with Slender Man, but I've heard the Stop It Slender stuff is really awesome. So I'll have to check that out. I don't know if it has to do with Gmod, though. But anyway, that's something I was going to bring up later was it seems like Garry's mod has been out for how long now?
It's been out for years.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it just kind of blows up on YouTube. Not really all of a sudden, because really all of a sudden the Minecraft guys picked it up. But it's been on YouTube for maybe a couple of months or whatever, but all of a sudden people are just starting to play it again. It's like, what's going on? I mean, I think even the games they've been playing have been out for a long time.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I saw last summer, Pause and Nvidia both had short series where they just played random games on it.
Right.
And so it's just people get into some of the more popular mini games and then they stop playing it for a while. So it's not just becoming big. It's been big for a while. I mean, it's just the Minecraft guys took a break from it, basically.
Well, I guess a couple of them have played it, but now it's becoming big. It's some of the main series on those aforementioned guys' channels.
I don't know if you can call it a main series when they've only had 6 episodes.
No, the what's it called? The Murder series is on episode 12 or something.
Oh, okay. I must be misremembering. I've seen them all. I guess I'm misremembering.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few. But, I mean, it's a pretty big deal right now. I know they used to have episodes on it, but it's definitely grown in size for sure. Okay.
So, Slash, what games have you been playing?
Well, I mentioned VBFS earlier. I did a little play Minecraft. I had to laugh. I don't think Beef was recording. I was in a survival games with Beef late one night. probably Saturday night, I think it was. I didn't even realize he was in the game, and I had a horrible start. The only weapon that I had to defend myself was the splash potions of damage.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up managing to kill myself with it. Like the actual death message that came up was Matt aka Slash was killed by Matt aka Slash using magic.
That's pretty funny.
That always seems to happen in those games with the stupid potions of whatever. I don't like. It always seems like when you're on a server and you throw them, no matter what, however far away you are, it seems to hit you. I don't know why.
It's like there's always a headwind.
Right.
Well, you can't be moving forward while you're throwing them forward. That's
I was backing up, but you know what? It was on the dock map, so it was like, you know, vines and jungle trees and stuff everywhere. So it was pretty much inevitable, but. Yeah, it was that or just stand still and let the guy kill me. So I'd rather go on my own terms.
Too bad you weren't killed by beef.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I like whenever I saw that message come up, and then it was shortly afterward I saw somebody was slain by vintage beef, and I was like, oh man, I hope he's recording this so that when he posts it, I can comment and go, oh great, my suicide was captured on film.
Dude, that's why I was really hoping beef was going to be in this latest UHC because I think his PvP has gotten a lot better from what I've seen.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's helped quite a bit of the Minecrafters to be on there. You know, have a reason to be doing Minecraft PvP more often.
Yep.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. And Drew and I played some Doors vs. Zombies recently. That video hasn't been edited or uploaded yet, but that'll be coming out soon. You can
I was gonna say I played on there with you just one game, and I haven't been on Play Minecraft for like at least a month, probably more, and I forgot how much fun that server is, so I need to get on it some more. We need to organize some Dem Guys games or something.
Yeah, I think we should. I think the three of us need to get on there and do some stuff together.
Yep.
It's just always a matter. The only time that we've managed to schedule us together for these sorts of things, we're doing this, what we're doing right now. So to schedule more time to do other things, it becomes a little bit problematic.
Yeah.
Do every other Monday, because
well, that's possible.
Try scheduling stuff with Daudur. You should have seen how long it took Drew and I to get everything. Because, like, Drew and I have completely opposite work schedules for the most part. And then Daudur is, like, asleep every time we're off of work. So it was, like, I don't know how we managed to get a good time to do it, but...
Yeah. Let's see, other than that, I played some Kerbal Space Program. I'm trying to gear up to get a station in orbit around the planet so that I can try and get some manned missions to some of the other planets in the system. I got back into Starbound finally, which was a little tricky to actually get back into properly because the reason this podcast is a week later than it's supposed to be is because I ended up having to essentially rebuild my computer from scratch. Now it's a Linux computer, so I have things partitioned off that, you know, I was able to reinstall the entire system without having to first back up and then restore my personal files. That's all segmented out in a way that Windows doesn't support very well. So I was able to get going, but I had to create a new account for myself on the computer because some of my old settings were conflicting with the new software. And then I had to transfer some of my stuff from the old account to the new account to get it to work. Like Steam was in a particular location. And if I didn't transfer it right, then my games weren't coming up. It was trying to reinstall my games and then it wouldn't have my Starbound save. You know, so eventually I got that working. So I have an episode of that recorded. I just need to render it out, and I'm hoping that will come out tomorrow on my channel. So Thursday. And then I'm not convinced that this guy isn't just trolling me, but I'm gonna give it a shot anyway. Once upon a time, long time ago, I had done an open source game review for a game called The Battle for Wesnoth, which is a what's the best way to describe it? It's a kind of like Civilization's combat mechanics, I guess, is the way that it works in terms of moving your units around, and it's you know, a turn-based strategy game.
If I remember right, that was like one of your more viewed videos, wasn't it?
The review of it is, yeah. Now after I had done the review, because it was one of the more popular games that I had reviewed, I was like, maybe people would be interested in me doing a series. So I did a short 4-scenario campaign, because it has a whole bunch of different campaigns in there.
Right.
And I did one that had 4 scenarios with it. And it ended up being 5 episodes, and it wasn't very popular as a series. So I was like, all right, well, then I don't have to revisit this. You know,
I don't know why that is. It seems to be, that's always how it is with everything. But I think it's because people really just don't want to watch I mean, I guess
Yeah.
the vast majority of people are not going to tune into our lowly channels to watch series. They're really going to look for one-and-off videos type things. But
Right. And the open source game reviews, they're short. I think the longest one's maybe 15 minutes tops.
Right.
Most of them clock in somewhere between 5 and 10. So they're easier to digest, and they're on a particular subject matter that I embraced because there's not a whole lot out on YouTube of people reviewing open source video games. You know,
Yeah.
because it's a small subset of people in the world who are recording, open source game reviews on Linux, for YouTube.
that was
as
kind
a
of like
Let's
your
player,
first thing that got you into it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was one of my earlier things, and it was actually Kurt sort of gave me the suggestion indirectly, somewhat directly. What it was is I had asked a question on one of his Flob episodes in the comments. I said, "Do you have any Linux experience or know anybody else in the YouTube community that does?" Because I know he had done web design, graphic design, and that usually involves a lot of the web servers are Linux or Unix based.
Yeah.
And he selected my question to answer. This is before he was concentrating on the donator submitted ones. And he selected my question, he answered it, and he said, that would actually, he made the comment, that would actually be a good niche to try to make yourself more known on YouTube is by doing these Linux type things. There's not a whole lot out there. Nobody really is doing anything on Linux. And I was like, okay.
Interesting.
And I hadn't mentioned anything in my question about the fact that I was trying to get my channel up and running or anything. So I don't know if he just said that as an aside or whether he had noticed, because I think I had my Minecraft, head as my avatar. So maybe just put 2 and 2 together with that, It's like, this looks like another Minecraft Let's Player. Maybe he wants to try and do this Linux thing. So I credit Kurt for giving me the idea to do that. But anyway,
That's a good little anecdote.
It was a fun little anecdote. I like it a lot. But the series that I did was, oh my gosh, probably was over the summer is when I did these 5 episodes. And just recently I got a comment from someone on the first of those 5 episodes saying, could you give the scenario Northern Rebirth a try? Right? And I'm like, interesting. Somebody's interested in seeing me play more of this game. So I went and I checked it out, and the scenario or the campaign that I did was a novice level campaign, right? Northern Rebirth is an expert level campaign, and it's like 21 scenarios versus 4 or something like that, right? So I'm like, I replied to his comment. I was like, wow, expert level, that's kind of intense. And he said, well, yeah, I'm kind of stuck on it myself. I want to see how you can do. So I don't know if he's just trying to whether how legitimate this is or whether he's looking for fails, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. And I actually had recorded some, but then my audio derped up and I didn't get any of the game sounds, so I'm going to re-record that. But I'm taking the approach of, all right, I'm sitting there. It's like Battle for Wesnoth hardcore mode. I'm going to play through this campaign, and when I fail, I'm done. That campaign is over.
Ultra hardcore
I didn't
Wesnoth.
make it. Exactly. So that's kind of fun though, because it gets me back into a game that I haven't looked at in a while. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. Hope
always
to
good.
get that up on the channel. Maybe next week sometime. So Snowshoe, what have you been up to? You've been busy.
Yeah,
In
we
terms
mentioned.
in terms of not playing video games, basically.
Man, tell me about it. These past couple weeks have been crazy. I feel like I've been gone literally every weekend since the last podcast, and I think every other week I've been gone. So it's like, if you look at my channel, there's maybe 4 or 5 videos a week, and normally, holy crap, man, let's edit that out. And normally maybe there's 3 or 4, and normally there's like 6 or 7. So One thing I've been missing though is the Attack of the B-Team mod. I did a recording a couple of weeks ago, and I left it on a cliffhanger and then resolved it, and then I haven't had any time to record that at all, so I'll have to get back to that. I've been playing a little bit, but I'm in a bad spot where I started a recording. I don't know if you guys have both done this, but I started a recording and then had to stop in the middle because I got interrupted, and then I haven't gone back to it, so I can't actually play the game until I continue recording.
Oh no.
It's a terrible spot because there's stuff I want to do, but I don't have time. I haven't had time to record it, so I can't continue with the entire mod pack until I continue recording. But anyway, so that episode should be up probably already. But the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to that was actually supposed to happen today, but I screwed up on the scheduling, is the Snow Madness contest. You guys are both entered. Yeah, so it's...
Yep.
I haven't mentioned it. I guess it came out... Was it before the last podcast? Did we talk about it?
Yeah, we talked about it on the last podcast.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've already talked about the basics of it, but pretty much everybody who enters is going to get a team, and that team is going to play in the March Madness tournament, which is NCAA Basketball Championship Tournament, which is technically it's starting tomorrow, which is the 18th for us, but I'm not going to count those games because it's a stupid thing where they have 2 games that are really kind of part of the tournament, but not really part of the tournament. So I think it's 4 games actually. It's called the first 4. It's stupid, but they call it the first round now. And so that's when I thought the tournament actually started. Anyway, the tournament really starts on Thursday. So we'll have everybody's teams assigned by Wednesday after those games have taken place, and I'll get to figure out what are the 64 teams that are actually going to be in the tournament. But as of right now, we have 17 people in the competition, which is almost the perfect number, but one too many. So I'm going to kick somebody out. No, I'm just kidding. No.
That's pretty funny.
For a minute, we only had 15, a little while, and so I was like, crap, I'm going to have to enter and like pick some crappy teams or something just to make it all even out. But now we have one too many, and anyway, it should be fun. Everybody's going to get probably 4 teams or so, and the lower 3 teams are not going to win, I'll just tell you that right now. But everybody's going to get at least one team that has a pretty good chance. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I said last time, it's like I have a reason to watch it now.
Yeah.
I'm not normally interested in basketball of any sort at all, ever, but you know,
it's going to be intense. I'm excited. I hope people like actually get into it. It'd be awesome if people knew who they were going up against and went head to head and like watched the game and could, freak out about it together.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've been playing. My life is crazy right now.
All right, cool. Well, hey, I think what we're going to do now, Drew has a big news topic to discuss, so we'll save that towards the end of the news segment.
Do I know about this big news topic? Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah, open the agenda, man. Jeez.
I was looking at
noob.
the next segment. It was blank. I was like, oh, is there a secret? I got excited, but now I'm less than excited.
Most likely parts of that conversation will get edited out because it'll take forever.
I just wanted to mention briefly that I thought this was very cool. I had seen, it's been probably a couple of weeks ago now that I'd seen this, but there's this company out there called SlickLogin that Google has acquired. And the reason that this interests me is because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Google's 2-step authentication mechanism.
The one that sucks?
No, it doesn't. It's not that bad. You can work.
I'm not familiar with it.
it causes a little bit more headaches than not using it. But the concept that between their 2-step system is that you put in your username and your password. But when you set up this 2-step verification, you put like an app on your phone, or you provide like a text message, phone number for them to send you text messages. Twitter has this capability too, where when you go to log in, it'll then send you a message, or you have to generate a code and put in this extra code to verify that you are in fact who you are. You're not just someone who happened to steal this person's user ID and password.
Right.
And the concept being that we're not testing just something that we're testing, do you have your phone that, you'd be able to authenticate with. So it's something that and something that you have, which is 2-factor authentication. And it's a very clever system, but what SlickLogin is doing is they have this concept of logging in via sound, where your computer's microphone, you have that keyed up, and it's you pull up your phone, you hit a button, you're like, I want to log into such and such a website or such and such an app, and you hit a button on there, and based on the sounds that are transmitted to your computer's microphone that it hears, it ends up knowing, okay, here's the person's user ID that, this is the account that they're trying to log into, and this is this is a properly authenticated sound that, okay, they get in because they played the right sound or whatever. And it's a really neat concept.
Skynet is coming.
Yeah, it's like no typing login. You don't even have to provide your user ID first, because it can transmit that in the sound wave. And I just thought that was really fascinating. So I'm keeping my eyes open for that, because that would be a really neat smartphone app to have.
Well, maybe that'll actually get them to pay some attention to their stupid login YouTube system right now that has caused me to miss like 3 uploads so far, because it's tried to upload my videos as a different account, which is not verified, and so it'll be like, hey, your video is longer than 3 minutes, so you can't upload it. And I'm like, great. And I'll be at work, and just be like, well, no videos today, guys. Sorry, YouTube's stupid.
I just wanted to say, the whole thing about logging in via sound, It makes me laugh because I'm picturing like spy movies where someone goes in with a voice recorder and is like having dinner with a person and they have a list of words they have to get them to say that it's like that's their password into their office or whatever.
Dude, I definitely would not do that for a bank account or something.
Well, I think that's a hilarious image, first of all, what you're talking about there. But I think the concept is less that you have a specific sound that you use over and over again. I think it's just like these things generate, a sequence of numbers. It's like a 6-digit code that you have to type in. I think it generates a sound, and what sound it generates changes based on the time. And it's like tied to your personal ID plus the time plus some algorithm generates some sound.
So it's not like the same sound every time.
Exactly. So you wouldn't be able to record that sound and replay it and get back in because that sound is only valid for like a 30-second window or something.
Would you have to be like, doo 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 doo? Is that what it would sound like? I mean, like, would it be a word or something? Or?
I don't know. I have a feeling it would probably come across sounding like static, like modems. Right. Old dial-up, the, kind of sound.
And you have to replicate that with your voice or something?
If you can replicate this sound, you cannot pass the CAPTCHA thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, at least Googlebot it before CAPTCHA did. That could have been an issue.
So, Snow, let's go to you next. You had something to talk about with QuizUp?
Yeah, for QuizUp. So, I guess we haven't mentioned it in the last podcast, but it's kind of a big thing now. Like, I know Daudur had told us a lot about it because it's actually made by an Icelandic company, and she knew a lot about it before it was popular, but apparently, like, a ton of people use it now, and it's like, she told me it was faster growing than Facebook and Twitter or something, than the apps. Jeez. I don't know. It's some crazy stuff, but people who I have never told about this are asking me if I've downloaded it, and I'm like, what in the world? I didn't know it was going to get this big. But basically, it's really cool. It's kind of right up my alley, but it's a head-to-head trivia type app where you can choose any category pretty much you can think of and basically have 7 trivia questions based on that, and whoever answers them a combination of quickly and correctly and gets the most points will win. And then you have all these cool stats, and like you can get cool titles based on how good you are in certain categories and stuff like that. It's really, really cool. So I just want to mention that. I know Drew and I have played it, and Daudur and I have played it. Slash, you haven't downloaded it, have you?
No, this is the first. I mean, I had heard a little bit about it, but I didn't really understand, what its hook was. I was like, oh, it's just another quiz app, whatever.
It's actually it's made really, really well. I think there's a couple bugs in it, but I mean, it was. I got it the first day it was released on Android. It had been released for iPhone for a while, but it's like the design scheme and everything for it, and kind of the flow of the app is very, very good. I think so.
So now the big thing for Drew and I, at least. The passes for PAX East arrived in our mailboxes today.
It's less than a month away.
It is.
What's the actual date? It's the 12th, right?
It's 11th through the 13th. Friday the 11th through Sunday the 13th of April.
We're probably going to be leaving either late the 9th or early on the 10th, and we're going to arrive on the 10th. So
yeah.
What are you going to do on the 10th? You just going to hang out around town and stuff?
Yeah, we're going to explore Boston a little bit.
Yeah, I've been to PAX. This will be my third PAX East, so I'll probably be, getting Drew and his friend Eric, or is the other one who's coming along. We're gonna I'm gonna help get them oriented. We'll take a look around our hotel area because our hotel's like 2 miles from the convention center.
It's like 1.2 miles. It's less than 2.
Okay, it's closer than that. But we wanted to get the hotel before registration had even opened up. So we weren't as close as some people who paid extra.
Dude, it's so expensive up there. That's one of the reasons I didn't go. I was really thinking about it because you can still get tickets on like StubHub and stuff, but the dang hotel prices up there are crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, we're very excited about that. That, like I said, the passes just got in the mail today. The schedule came out on Thursday, something like that.
Yeah, so about a week ago.
Yeah, and there's some very exciting things on the PAX schedule. Not the least of which is Saturday morning. The Mindcrack group is having a panel. And I was shocked. I didn't realize how many Mindcrackers were actually going to be there. Because when PAX passes first went on sale back in October. Because that's just how it works.
Yeah.
And at the time, the only Mindcrackers that I heard that were going were Good, Pause, Bash had like a Saturday and a Sunday pass, something like that. And I think I'd heard that Nebris might have been going at that point. And that's all I had heard, and then nothing was said past that. But then they successfully got a panel, and so as panelists, they were able to get people in that didn't actually get passes through the normal, the way the peasants do,
Yeah.
And it's a significant chunk of the Minecraft group. We've got Good. We've got now. You heard MC's not going to be there, right, Drew?
Yeah, he said on Twitter that he's not going to be able to go, unfortunately.
Okay. But Good's going to be there. Zisto's going to be there. Beef's going to be there. So that's going to be super extra awesome to be able to meet Beef.
Yeah, because we didn't go to Minecon, so...
Right.
Yeah, you guys weren't with the cool kids.
Yeah.
We are going to be the cool kids.
We are good. You know what, man? I got to talk to a bunch of the Mindcrackers at PAX East last year, and it's, I think, a lot easier to have conversations with them at PAX than it would be at Minecon.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm going to the PlayOnCon thing, but we'll talk about that eventually later.
But yeah, let's see. Beef, Baj, Jay Sano is going to be there. I haven't met him yet, so that'll be cool. Nebris, BTC, Seth Bling, and Pause. They're all going to be there. So it's a big group.
My favorite thing about the panel list was that it listed, besides their Minecraft names, it listed everybody's first name except for BTC's. It just said Blame. Which we thought was
is hilarious, because, well, there are a couple of first names that I didn't know ahead of time. Like, most of them I know at this point, but, like, I did not know that Zisto's name is Tyler, and I did not know that Baj's name is Martin. Those were the two that I did not know ahead of time. But yeah, it goes through, and it's like, Martin, W92 Baj, Jeff, J719, Chris, Nebris88, Blame the controller. And I did get a kick out of Vaughn. Somebody had posted on the Minecraft Reddit, he was like, saying that they thought it was hilarious and adorable how BTC is avoiding giving out any part of his name as part of this. And Vaughn goes, oh, he changed his name legally to Blame after he left the military and he was doing YouTube full time. And then parentheses, he's like, this is not true, but I'm looking forward to seeing someone quoting it as truth later on. So I'm just waiting, because I'm sure I'm going to hear that at some point in the future from somebody.
The other big thing, I guess mainly for you, but I'm excited to watch it, and I'm also planning on vlogging a lot, so hopefully I'll get a recording of it, is Kerbal Space Program Tournament.
Yes.
And
how do you do a Kerbal Space Program Tournament?
That's part of the intrigue.
I'm guessing. I mean,
don't know.
like, there's a Minecraft tournament as well, and there is PvP in Minecraft, but it seems to me most Minecraft competitions are build related. So I'm guessing it's some sort of, you have to do this in a certain amount of time, and it's just be creative and build some sort of spaceship.
Yeah, I think, well, with the Minecraft tournament last year at PAX East, that was the one that was associated with Feed the Beast. Remember, they had that sort of Skyblock-esque map where you spawned in with very little resources. You had to make your way to another portal, and then you had to make your way to the main temple. Yeah. And, like, different parts of the temple asked for different things. Like, you had to provide one with a fully charged, red power battery or something, And then once you completed all of those, then you succeeded. And the tournament was to see who could complete that the fastest out of all the entrants. So I don't know what they're planning on doing for a Minecraft tournament this year. I hadn't heard any details of what they're going to do about that, and it's possible, I won't hear anything until we actually show up when we ask, what's the Minecraft tournament? But yeah, the Kerbal Space Program tournament, this would be a little optimistic of me, but I'm kind of hoping that it's the first public look at their NASA, sanctioned custom scenario that they've been working on. Because one of the things NASA really wants to try to do in the relatively near future, we're talking space program terms, so years out, but is they want to try to capture an asteroid into Earth orbit so that they can, basically make it almost a station of its own, and be able to go up and do, all sorts of scientific tests on it, mine into it and find out what exactly is it made out of, and, get all sorts of measurements on it, because we don't have that much information about asteroids other than they're rocks floating in space. And so NASA actually talked to Kerbal Space Program, because there are so many guys in the space program at NASA that love Kerbal Space Program, and that play it in their spare time. Like, these are guys that they build rockets for a living, and then they build rockets for, entertainment. But they actually talked to them to see about getting a scenario built into Kerbal Space Program where you would end up having to construct a craft that could go out and capture an asteroid into Kerbal orbit for study. And I've got my fingers crossed that they'll have enough of that done for PAX East that we'll be able to get a first look at it, and that'll be the tournament. Like, who can capture an asteroid into Kerbal orbit first?
You're setting yourself up for failure here, Slash.
Well, yeah. Failure or disappointment. Who knows?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's going to be something... I mean, from what I remember of what people have said, the Minecraft tournaments have been pretty... So,
yeah.
Especially since... I mean, I guess it would be Kerbal Space Program actually... Like, who makes it? What's the company
Squad.
called? Yeah, so it would be them actually putting on the tournament, right?
I would imagine so.
If it's them, hopefully you have a chance. But if it's like PAX trying to do it, could be a little sketchy.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like, I haven't seen anything from Squad, nor have on the schedule it just says Kerbal Space Program Tournament, and that's all you get. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with there. But I'm definitely interested in whatever it is. I feel like I'm almost certainly going to enter it because I love playing that game, and the very concept of trying to play it competitively intrigues me. Yeah. Whatever end that might come to. Yeah.
So Kurt's not going, is he?
No, unfortunately not. I think Kurt has stated that he has interest in attending a PAX, but I don't think he's going to go to East first.
Well,
I think
he's been
his
to
intent
Prime.
is to go to Prime. Or
Yeah,
has he been to Prime?
Yeah, last time.
Okay. Yeah, so I know that, and that was fairly recent. He doesn't travel a whole lot, so...
Yeah.
All right, so Slash, you had some stuff you wanted to talk about. Not really news, but just some fun stuff that you found, so...
Yeah, just throwing some random stuff out there. The first thing I got a big kick out of, and I know, Snow, you'd get a kick out of this too if you haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but Zisto, like a couple of weeks ago, had tweeted out a link to a YouTube video that was titled The Worf of Starfleet. and it's the Wolf of Wall Street parody that uses a bunch of scenes from Star Trek: The Next Generation. So that link will be in the description, and that is that I got a big chuckle out of that one. They did a fantastic job
with how ridiculous the Wolf of Wall Street was. I can only imagine.
Yeah, they did a great job taking scenes from TNG and sort of, you know, creatively editing it to provide certain impressions of what may have been going on at those moments. So I was a big fan of it. It actually put me in mind of a lot of the at the end of each season of TNG, they would put together a blooper reel to show for the cast at the wrap party, and a lot of times the editors would have some fun taking lines or, you know, scenes that were filmed, you know, that actually made it into the episodes, but recutting them together and splice across episodes to, take it out of the context to make it seem like they were talking about completely different things.
That's pretty funny.
And sort of along those lines, going into the next thing, is I wanted to throw out sort of an idea / challenge that I don't know how we want to implement this. I'll just throw it at you two, and you can let me know, you know, what you think you want to do. But the whole family has been watching a lot of Star Trek: The Next Generation, and really been enjoying it. And I watched, I've seen all of the original series and all of the movies and stuff, and I'm was really into everything through Next Generation. I sort of fell off a little bit with the series that followed, didn't follow those as closely. But I'm very well versed in the original series and Next Generation content. And so I thought it'd be fun to throw out like a trivia challenge sort of thing, that if you guys wanted to try and come up with questions to stump me with, that we can try on a future episode of the podcast. And I wanted to throw it at the listeners as well, but I had the conundrum of, if they submit these questions to the podcast address, then there's the likelihood that I would be able to see it ahead of time and look it up if I didn't know. And I want to avoid that as a possibility. I don't want, you know, anybody to think that I had the ability to predetermine my answer. You know, I want to have to answer these on the spot.
Right. Well, if anyone's listening, I mean, one way we could do it is they could just direct message Drew or I, and we could do it that way. But I don't know if they'd want to do that. Nobody sends me messages. No, you could do it that way, though. I mean, I don't know how else. If you have any other ideas.
Yeah.
That's probably about the only thing that I can think of.
I mean, if you have us on Skype, you can send us a message there.
That's true.
That's true. So however you want to, if you have something, Star Trek, the original series or Next Generation, trivia question that you would like Snow or Drew to throw at me in a future podcast, try to stump me, get in contact directly with them, however you manage to do so, whether it be a YouTube message or, whatever. All right. Well, speaking of questions that may stump us, we actually have quite a few questions from you listeners to go through. We have 3
nice
different...
transition.
Yeah, thank you very much.
10 out of 10 would listen to again.
We had 3 people submit questions and some submitted multiple questions. So we're going to try and go through these a little bit more streamlined than we might otherwise, because we don't want to take up too much of the end of the podcast here trying to answer questions. So here we go. We're going to start off with Rexonite. His first question was, he has it labeled as the password pen, or the, patent pending. Rex question. And that is, my computer just froze up. There we go. If all of you guys were stuck in a mountain and only one person could survive, who would kill everybody else? And who would offer themselves for another person to survive?
I think you know my answer to this. Like, it's not even a question. Why would I just go ahead and be like, yeah, go ahead, eat me. Good idea. I mean, I wouldn't try to eat the other people, but I definitely wouldn't be like, hey, just gnaw on my leg for a little bit. You'll be all right. I think I'd rather all of us die from starvation.
Yeah, I think if it came down to that sort of situation, I don't know. I could see myself being devious enough to try to not overtly, take anybody out for the purposes of food, but maybe like, encourage certain dangerous scenarios.
Right.
Like, why don't you stand under that precarious looking boulder in the corner of the cave over there, and while I jump up and down and yell a lot.
Right.
And then, oh no, an accident has happened. Well,
they are dead.
Let's make the most of it. See, it's such a morbid thing to consider. I mean, I just hope that I'm never in that kind of situation.
For me, whenever it comes to these scenario questions, I always have questions about it. Like, how exactly are we trapped? Like, are we just put in this room, or like, was there a cave-in somewhere? Because like, maybe we could try and dig our way out.
For all intents and purposes, there's no other options, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You either have to kill each other or die.
Okay. I mean, I would not want to revert to cannibalism. The only reason
What do you mean revert? Like, have you done it before?
Not revert. What's the term for that?
Resort.
Resort. That was kind of telling, Drew. I don't know.
Freudian slip there.
Keep an eye on you.
Have fun at PAX.
Sorry, I said the wrong word. Anyway, yeah, I would not want to resort to cannibalism.
Nice.
But I mean, being stuck in a cave with the 2 of these guys for a while, I might want to take someone out, anyway. or maybe just kill myself to end it. So
I don't know. I just sat in a car with people for 10 hours, and only 3 of them made it through. So.
Only 3? How many were there total? Or to start with?
I'd rather not say.
There were 3.
Shut up! Don't ruin my story.
All right, so Rexonite's next question is another classic. Well, I guess the first one's not really a classic. It's a Rexonite classic, but this one's a real classic. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? And Drew, you have the correct answer.
Is it European or African?
There you go.
That's not an answer. It's just another question.
It is another question, but it's the required question.
It is the successful way to answer that question without getting tossed into a ravine that will kill you. Yes.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes. And Rex, we expect that you toss yourself into a ravine upon hearing our response.
Hey, maybe you'll land on some other guy and you have to decide whether you're going to kill each other.
It's your dream scenario.
Yes.
And apparently his third question was, anyway, thanks for the podcast. It's great when being bored.
Yeah.
That should be our tagline, guys.
It should be our tagline.
The Dem Guys podcast. It's great when being bored.
Is he saying he's being bored by listening to the podcast?
I don't even know, but I definitely have something else to take to the trademark office.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I like that a lot. We might have to add that to like the thumbnail image or something.
Right, yeah.
Daudur, get on it.
There you go. So our next question comes from Oiralinde, which is my wife, full disclosure. And she has asked us, if you were to add a 13th month to the year, where would you put it, and what would you call it? And I thought about this a little bit ahead of time, and I'm going to make mine a Saturday Night Live reference, and I would call the 13th month Febtober.
Oh gosh.
And I would put it halfway through August.
Okay. So August takes place on either half of the
right. You would
side.
the calendar would go. It would be August 1st through 15th, and then you would have the 1st of Febtober, right? And Febtober, since it's a 13th month, I could make it whatever I want. So Febtober is 3.5 days.
Okay.
So then you go Febtober 1st, Febtober 2nd, Febtober 3rd, Febtober 3rd and a half, and then you go back to August 16th. But now, because of the half day, the hours have completely inverted. And so now you have to be up at night and in bed during the day.
Oh.
No.
The Febtober is a reference to Saturday Night Live had Celebrity Jeopardy bits with Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek. And one of the questions was, one of the categories was months that begin with Feb.
Oh, yeah, I remember
and the clue was this is the only month that starts with Feb.
Yeah.
And Sean Connery rings in and says Febtober.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. So yeah.
So I would put mine. My 13th month would go between January and February.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It would only happen every other year.
Oh.
But it would be a month that is, for whatever reason, it's technically part of the month of spring. So for 1 month,
The month of spring. Months that start with spur. For 100, please.
It would be part of spring. And so for whatever reason, there would be a time between January and February where we'd have nice weather, and so it wouldn't go back to the horrible weather for a little while.
Okay.
So you're inserting a respite in the middle of winter is what you're attempting to do.
Okay.
May I suggest a name for this month, since you did not volunteer one?
Sure.
Depleted ozone.
Yeah, that would be a real issue for my office.
Every other year.
Every other year.
431 days. It is a full month.
Perfect.
And no, I am not picking 43 days.
We've obviously given this too much thought. Have you been able to
I
think of
didn't think about this ahead of time. I looked at the question.
I'm not saying you had to think about it ahead of time to give it too much thought.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of whatever month I could insert that would make me not have to work. Okay, that works. So we'll insert a month that is, let's put it between September and October, and we'll call it, Vacationuary. And it is an international month of vacation that everybody gets to take.
So
That's pretty nice.
So basically, it's August in Europe.
Exactly.
But for us here, yeah.
It seems to work for Europe. They're all developed and stuff. They figured it all out. Why can't we?
Snow, does your 13th month only happen here in the United States? Does it not happen other places in the world?
No, it's international.
Okay.
There you go. But, Snow, now that you said that, it occurs to me that I think all three of us have missed a golden opportunity here.
Uh-oh.
I think the proper place to insert this 13th month is between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, because you're off the whole time?
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I had to work after Christmas.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah, so that would actually be terrible.
All right, well, let's see. Next question is a real quick one. Coke or Pepsi, Drew?
Water.
Water. Snowshoe.
Delicious. Neither, actually. Sprite. I don't drink dark
Sprite.
soda.
Ah, okay. Dark soda.
I
That's
know.
racist.
I
know.
If it was just whatever soda you want, if I drank a soda, it would be either Sprite or ginger ale, but I really don't drink soda very often, so.
Nope, he only drinks hard liquor for the most part.
It's
I'm gonna leave that.
categories.
Yes,
It's funny. The question, I'm sure, is born of the fact that growing up, I was always in a Pepsi family. So I drank Pepsi for the most part, or like Sierra Mist, something along those lines. And then my wife's family is staunchly Coca-Cola family.
Oh gosh.
Right. So it was interesting. It was very interesting. Like that's like the one, what is it? The Capulets and the, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's like our point of contention is Coke versus Pepsi. And
wait, so does that transition to Sprite and Sierra Mist also?
It's funny. Like at this point, Sprite and Sierra Mist were interchangeable for me. I don't think that I ever really cared whether it was Sprite or Sierra Mist. I think what I did growing up was if they had Pepsi products, it was Pepsi. If they had Coke products, I got Sprite. Right. But I have since then, like now in my later years, I guess. But I've become more of a Coke fan, so I tend
as
to
he gets closer to death, he likes Coke more.
Yes, exactly. I found that I prefer the taste of Coke. I don't know why. And honestly, I don't drink that much soda in general either. I tend to have water with those flavors that you mix in with it.
Water's free.
So that's the sort of thing that I do. Yeah, exactly. That helps a lot. It's a lot cheaper to go that route. All right, and the final question from Oiralinde is, what is the most annoying thing about Minecraft? I thought that was a very interesting question. Because a lot of times it's like, what feature do you most want to see, or whatever. What do you like the most? But what do you find the most annoying in Minecraft? Let's start with Stowe this time.
Okay, my answer for this is easy, but it's not something anybody can fix, really. And we've been experiencing it on the server a little bit, it's starting to pick up, but is whenever you're on a multiplayer server and nobody plays, it drives me crazy. I hate that. Because it's like, it's really drawn me away from the server. Not that I have stopped playing more, but it's kind of taken down my interest because we're running a server that has all of this stuff in it, and it's, sometimes it labors a little bit, and you're having to ask for restarts and everything, and most of the time when I play, I'm the only one on. So that would definitely be my most annoying thing. Sometimes I just wish I could play single player instead of, I wish they were interchangeable, but... Not that I would know how to do that logistically, but...
What about you, Drew?
The lack of rare blocks. There used to be a whole bunch, for strongholds and stuff, that it was you could only get them by discovering one, and now they're making it so they're craftable. Like, I think the only non-craftable or just basically unlimited, because you can find it anywhere in the world, block is like cracked stone now.
Diamond block is a rare block.
No response.
See,
to that.
But you can just find it it's not like you have to find a specific structure. Like, you could just do a strip mine and find
a
tons
specific
of it.
diamond. Okay, fine.
It's pretty much unlimited, because it's very unlikely that you're going to get to the limits of your world. All right, so Slash, what is your most annoying thing about Minecraft?
My most annoying thing about Minecraft? I don't know. It's not super annoying, but the first thing that comes to mind is I really want Ender Pearls to stack to 64.
Yes.
Ender Pearls are just fantastic. I love Ender Pearls. I would use them even more often if I, could carry around 64 in my hotbar easily. I tend to, if I don't have 2 stacks of Ender Pearls on me, I feel like I'm under-equipped. So that's that's 2 slots of my inventory that's being used up for this item that really doesn't need to be. And the comment from Mojang seems to be that Ender Pearls are so powerful that they only want them to stack to 16, but I don't see that having 64 in my slot versus having 16 in my slot are really going to have much of an impact. Like, if I throw them all, I'm going to die, whether I got feather falling on or not. So
it all goes back to Mojang's stupid inventory deal that they're not budging on.
Yeah.
They're really, really... We finally got doors to stack, man.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Why would a door not stack in your inventory?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think they're withholding random features for no real reason.
All right, well, we can move on to our final question here, which is sort of coupled with a comment. It's from aMillionMonkeyz, who we've heard from before on the podcast. He says, "Hey guys, in some of your recent videos, I've noticed you all doing things in Minecraft that I don't know how to do. For example, moving all of one type of item from your inventory to a chest or vice versa. So my actual question is, do you have any tips, tricks, or little-known commands you can share with fellow Minecrafters?"
I don't even know how to do that. Actually, I do, but I can't do it consistently. I don't know why.
It's that mechanic of, double-clicking your entire inventory of, like, sand, for instance, from your personal inventory into a chest. It's a kludgy way to do it, because the only way that I can get it to work is picking up a stack of something else and having that on my cursor, and then shift double clicking on the thing that I want to transfer.
I usually forget about it, and I just go across my inventory and just click, 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 click while holding shift.
See, I don't know very many like little tips and tricks, but I will say whenever they added the click dragging thing, that was like one of my favorite.
That was a big
Minecraft.
game changer. That it has made crafting and inventory management and all of that so much easier.
Well, I mean, just the other day, whenever we had to do some division into 3 separate parts, it was like super easy. You didn't have to click one at a time or anything.
Yeah. So that's pretty fantastic. I don't know, some of the things that I do. One thing that I found very useful when I'm playing survival games, I'm playing Minecraft, is I see so many people, Minecrackers included, so many people on YouTube that if they've got junk in their inventory that they're getting rid of, right? What do? They pick it up and they move it to the side of their inventory window and they click again to drop it, and then they keep repeating, and they're like throwing the stuff with their thing. Whereas you can hold, like, mouse over it and hit Control Q and it'll drop that whole stack of whatever you're hovering over.
That's actually, I've asked someone before how they did that. It looked like they I thought someone dropped a whole stack of something without even opening their inventory.
Well, you can drop it off your hotbar if you've but just Control Q it from there.
Q. Okay, well, I asked someone about that because I saw them do it, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I thought it must have been my imagination, but I've seen it other times.
Yeah.
And I tried Shift Q, and that didn't work. I think that's our podcast. And so, if you guys would like to submit a question to ask us for next time or just any future podcast, you can email us at demguyspodcast@gmail.com.
DEMGUYSPODCAST@gmail.com.
Woo! Woo! So she's like, I've got one job on this podcast. God darn it.
You used to read the questions, too.
Oh. Yeah, well, I'll pick that up next time. Something to look forward to, guys. Check out next time. Listen to me read questions.
If we have any.
You have to send them in to hear Snowshoe's dulcet tones.
I'll ask my own questions if I need to.
Well, thank you for auspicing.
Oh no, not that word again.
Oh man, that was fantastic.
I don't even know if that was used correctly, but
I don't think so.
No.
It really is not. It really isn't.
I looked it up. We'll just let you guys look it up too.
Alright, well, thanks for listening, and hope you'll tune in next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.